Gaza, with Israel holding its fire to let humanitarian aid through, and both sides indicating they may soon put down their guns.
Certainly good news with, to many of those with ties to the region here in the Mid-South. Joining us this morning, a man Memphis knows and loves, Andy Groveman with Bell's Enterprises, has made many trips to the Middle East, and he's here with his rabbi, Shai Finkelstein of Baronhurst Temple. Welcome.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Were we correct in indicating that there could be a possible breakthrough today? Andy, what have you heard so far? We're seeing additional reports on the news just this morning. What's the latest there that you're hearing?
Alex, yes, I heard the same reports that there's going to be a temporary ceasefire for about 3 hours a day to allow Israel to send in more aid to those civilians who tragically are caught in between this terrible, terrible fight between Iran-backed terrorists, Hamas, and the Israel Defense Forces. So that's good news and welcome news by all.
Is 3 hours enough? A lot of people are already saying, well, why not 24 hours as opposed to 3?
Well, I think everybody within Israel would love to see a permanent and enduring ceasefire. I think that's everyone's wish and desire, but right now, unfortunately, Hamas is still firing rockets into Israel.
What about, we have a new president being inaugurated, as we just talked about, in just a couple of weeks. Rabbi, what was your reaction to his election, and what do you see going forward, with particular eye toward the conflict in that region?
You know, Israel stayed the only democracy in the Middle East and the best friend of America in this region. And I think Barack Obama will do the right things for Israel and for America. I think he will continue on to push for a peace process, with Israel leaders already proclaimed that they are willing to do. We proved ourselves in 2000, withdrawing from Lebanon, in 2005, withdrawing from Gaza and Gush Katif, this entire region, to give it back to the Palestinians, for them to have a state, a very blooming state, a very prosperous state. But unfortunately, it was just not successful. And I hope that Barack Obama, as president, will try to push and to try to bring the sides closer to really have peace and harmony in that region.
And Rabbi, has the president-elect said enough? I know he stated a few weeks ago we can only have one president at a time, but some people have said, has he been a little bit too hesitant, you think, and not saying enough about what his policy will be, or would you like to hear more?
I think he's learning the situation, and I think it's a good thing that he's not just coming out with proclamations and declarations. I think he will probably say something after the lunch he will have with other three past presidents. It's a very delicate and complicated issue, and you don't want to say the wrong things. You want to say the right things that will push the process really forward and not backwards. So I really admire, in a way, his response to the situation.
You know, President-elect Obama visited Sderot, which is really the main town that is under fire from Hamas.
And you've been there many times over the past 14 months.
Yeah, I've been there twice over the last 14 months. And President-elect Obama himself said, look, if I was living within Israel in Sderot and someone was firing rockets on a daily basis, I would take whatever steps are necessary to protect my family. And as we see, Israel has been under fire since 2005. When Israel unilaterally moved out of Gaza, gave it back to the Palestinians. Hamas was then elected in 2006. And since that time, there have been over 5,000 rockets launched from Gaza into Sderot and into Israel. So President-elect Obama certainly sees, I think, the merit in what Israel is doing in trying to defend its citizens.
Do you think that with the focus of the last few years on Iraq and now with the economy, these American people are still paying attention? Are they, have the events of the last couple of weeks brought their attention back? Is America losing its will in its longtime supporters?
And do we need to continue to pay attention if we're not?
It's a good question. I think that what we're faced with, what the entire world is faced with, it doesn't matter whether it's the United States, the European Union, the more moderate states within the Arab world, we are faced with fighting terrorism. And this is Iranian-backed terrorism that the United States is faced with in Afghanistan, certainly reared its head in Iraq. We're certainly faced with it in Israel with Hamas to the south, Hezbollah to the north. So I think that the United States has taken appropriate action. I think that the world has come to learn that we need to stay focused on really protecting those more moderate states and countries in the world from these terrorists.
Does it come as any surprise, Andy, that other extremists or some groups that are perceived as being enemies of the United States came out yesterday very critical of the president-elect and other organizations? Are we kind of somewhat fanning the flames? Do they not want to see some of the other groups? Do they not want to see success in the Middle East?
I think there are a lot of Arab and Palestinians that want to see peace. I know Israel has always come to the table and is always ready to make peace with its neighbors. It's demonstrated that. They evacuated territory that they occupied and were part of Israel with Egypt. Peace was made. Egypt was a willing peace partner. Unfortunately, there are just not, right now, any partners to talk with as long as Hamas, again, backed by a terrorist regime in Iran, is in control of Gaza.
So what does America need to do more than we're doing now, Rabbi?
I think to continue on to fight international terrorism and to really spread the word that it's not a territorial issue.
And to fight Iran more?
I don't know if that's to fight Iran, but to put sanctions and really to try to convince Iran to stop their nuclear reactors because it's going to be a threat to the entire world. It's not about only Israel and Palestine. It's about the entire free world, the Western culture. It's not a territorial issue, it's an ideological issue. And such as you need to try to educate the world and the European Union and America that we are really fighting together, something that is a threat on all of us.
All right. Rabbi, thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Andy, as always, good to see you.
Thank you both.
Happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We are